resident on activities of fake enforcement personnel. Nigeria seeks more collaboration with the United States to tackle terrorism. On the foreign scene, Pakistan extends deadline for Afghans awaiting third country resettlement. And in sports, Lagos State government hosts AFCON Trophy ahead opening of tournament in Cote d'Ivoire. And now the details. I am Mike James. The Lagos State government has urged members of the public to be vigilant of fake traffic enforcement personnel who pretend to be government officials, taking advantage of unsuspecting motorists. Commissioner for Transportation Oluwaseun Oshiemi issued a warning highlighting the presence of imposters falsely claiming affiliation with various local government areas and government agencies. Oshiemi emphasized that stringent actions will be taken against anyone caught engaging in such activities, aligning with the provisions of the Lagos State Transport Reform Law 2018. He reassured the public that concerted efforts are underway to rid the roads of these imposters, urging everyone to be cautious, avoid falling victim of these deceitful individuals, and promptly report any suspicious encounters to the Ministry of Transportation. In recent events, the Lagos State Task Force and the Transport Operations Compliance Unit of the Ministry of Transportation successfully apprehended and exposed fraudulent enforcement personnel who were then prosecuted for their actions. Captains of industries and other stakeholders in the health sector have taken a strategic move to ensure that vulnerable residents in Lagos State have access to quality and affordable healthcare by mobilizing funds to support payments of premiums for their healthcare coverage. The supports were made at a fundraising event themed Art and Charity, organized by the Lagos State Health Management Agency in Lashma to its Eco-Social Health Alliance, ECOSHA. In his keynote address, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu restated his administration's commitment to attaining the universal health coverage by ensuring that all residents, especially the less privileged, have access to quality and affordable healthcare services. The governor, who was represented by the secretary to the state government, Abimbola Salo-Hunde, commended partners for their contributions towards the achievement of these feats through their charitable works to humanity. She had this to say.
I am highly elated to be in the midst of eminent personalities who are highly committed towards charitable work and service to humanity. We are committed towards ensuring that Lagos residents, irrespective of their socio-economic and cultural background, have access to quality and affordable health care.
And wife of the Lagos Governor, Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, was represented by a member of council, Olamide Ogunubi, said this edition of ECOSHA fundraiser event was significant as it aimed to alleviate the healthcare burden of approximately 60,000 vulnerable individuals in Lagos State. On his part, Commissioner for Health, Aki Abayomi, noted that access to quality health care was a fundamental right and not a privilege. Hence, the need to pick an art piece at the event to raise resources that would serve as a lifeline for the vulnerable.
One of the most important things is healthcare. So this equity fund in the state budget is allocated to buying insurance, health insurance for Lagosian citizens who are resident in Lagos and qualify. We are able to identify them because we have a database to measure people who fall below the threshold of self-sustainability. And that database is what we use to access people and pay for their health insurance.
And that was Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Aki Abayomi. And also speaking, Chairman of the agency, Adebayo Adediwe, said the initiative was designed towards achieving the themes plus developmental agenda of the Sanwo-Olu administration, as well as raising additional resources through a strategic alliance with private financial institutions. In a vote of thanks, Permanent Secretary Lashma, Manuela Zamba, also said part of the objectives of Ecoshot was to achieve universal health coverage and ensure poor residents of the state have access to quality and affordable health care irrespective of social and financial status.
So currently we have about 923,000 people covered under Ilera Eco in Lagos State. About a third of that, which is like 334,000, are the vulnerable that we have been able to cover thus far. That's using the equity fund, which Mr. Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu gives to the agency, as well as the basic healthcare provision fund from the federal government, and then support from philanthropists and general members of the public. This event was set aside for us to be able to raise funds to cover an.
Our correspondent Adirayo Dowu Olaya reports that wife of the Lagos State Governor Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu was honored as an Ekosha icon, and the event featured a tour of the art gallery by members of the State Executive Council, which included Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, Kemi Oguyemi. And on to the rest of the stories. Nigeria has called for the strengthening of bilateral relations with the United States in the fight against terrorism and other security challenges. The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, during an official visit to the U.S., said Nigeria would welcome more support to degrade terrorists operating in the country. Matawalle highlighted the significance of the long-standing friendship between the two countries and reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to eradicating terrorism. He added that President Bola Tinubu was determined to collaborate with friendly nations to make Nigeria more secure for all. The Supreme Court has upheld the federal government's appeal, challenging the verdict of the appeal court, which dismissed the charges against Nnamdi Kanu. In upholding the government's appeal, the Supreme Court held that Kanu must face trial at the Federal High Court. The Supreme Court, in a judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim, but prepared by Justice Garba Lawal, held that the Court of Appeal was wrong to rule that Kanu could not be tried again based on the illegality perpetrated against him by the federal government following the invasion of his home. Also, the court held that although the Nigerian government was reckless and unlawfully rendered Kanu from Kenya, such unlawful act has not divested any court from proceeding with trial. And in some foreign news, the Pakistani government has announced that undocumented Afghans awaiting paperwork to resettle in a third country will be allowed to stay in Pakistan for 2 more months. The extension of the deadline on Wednesday from the end of this year to February 29, 2024 comes amid Pakistan's drive to expel more than 1 million foreigners living in the country without paperwork. Announcing the extension, Interim Information Minister Murtaza Solangi said anybody overstaying the new deadline would be fined $100 monthly, with a cap set at $800. According to the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, more than 450,000 people have returned to neighboring Afghanistan since the deportation campaign began in early October. And over to sports news. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has received the trophy of the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON ahead of the opening of the tournament in Republic of Cote d'Ivoire next year. The trophy, arriving from Morocco, touched down in Lagos on Thursday. Receiving the trophy at the State House in Marina, Governor Sanwo-Olu said a symbolic gesture reinforced the importance the nation attached to talent development, noting that Nigerians looked forward to interesting contest and exciting moment at 2023 AFCON. Sanwo-Olu tipped the Super Eagles to win the trophy, saying the national team had the physical skills it needed to be victorious in the tournament. And that was our news at 12. But just before we go, speed thrills but kills. Please do not drive beyond specified speed limit. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms, X formerly Twitter, Lagos Traffic 961, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Watch us live on Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, and on YouTube. Subscribe and watch all our previous programs and news on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration constructed watchtowers with alarm bells and perimeter fences in model colleges? You can get more details on the Lagos State government website. And to end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State government has urged members of the public to be vigilant of fake traffic enforcement personnel who pretend to be government officers taking advantage of unsuspecting motorists. Nigeria has called for the strengthening of bilateral relations with the United States in the fight against terrorism and other security challenges. We also told you that the Pakistani government has announced that undocumented Afghans awaiting paperwork to resettle in a third country will be allowed to stay in Pakistan for 2 more months. In sports, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has received the trophy of the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON ahead of the opening of the tournament in the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire next year. And for contacts with the newsroom, send a message to Lagos Traffic Radio at lagosstate.gov.ng. And that ends the news broadcast. It was compiled by Abiola Fagbolago. Thank you for listening. My name is Mike James. It's another great sunny Friday afternoon out there. Well, we'll be having Micah Arocha in a bit for GNI on Go, right after which he'll kick off with lunchtime work. Do have yourself a wonderful time out.